So, DC is in an absolutely abysmal state, and I think James Gunn's Superman is their last chance to save the brand. Sure, we have had some bangers like the Suicide Squad, the Batman, and right now the Penguin, but a lot of the larger scale movies that have recently come out have been Black Adam, Shazam 2, and The Flash. These are all terrible movies critically and from the audience. General audiences are fed up with superhero media, especially since Marvel isn't doing too well either, but I do think we actually have some hope next year, particularly with Superman. But why do I think that? Well, let's get into it. And real quick, please remember to leave a like and subscribe and follow my social media to stay updated with my content. So to start off, I want to talk about why I have so much faith in not just James Gunn's Superman film, but his new DCU. First off is the man himself, James Gunn. Gunn is simply just great. He's great. Guardians of the Galaxy was one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. Seeing that in theaters for the first time was absolutely magical. He turned a movie I had no faith in due to the ridiculous sounding characters and turned it into one of the most soulful and heartfelt superhero movies of all time. His track record and consistency is simply unmatched. Some directors start off strong and fall flat with sequels such as Taika Waititi, but James Gunn's most recent projects were Peacemaker and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, both of which are arguably some of his best projects to date. He just gets it. I see how active he is on social media, answering people's questions, and seeing how he's talking about the universe is so exciting. Him being on social media helps a lot because he gets to stay in tune with what people actually want to see. And not in the sense of where he caters to the people's wants and needs, but he simply keeps an open mind to what people actually want to see in this universe. It's a relief that this isn't going to be like Sony's cinematic universe where the executives are so tone deaf that they actually got gaslighted by the internet to re-release Morbius just to have it bomb a second time. Sorry, I still can't believe we convinced a major movie studio that this was an unironically good movie. But anyway, James Gunn is also a protege in a sense to Kevin Feige, who's probably the best movie executive of all time. And if you don't know who that is, Kevin Feige is essentially the mastermind and father of the MCU. So we have someone who listens to the fans, knows how to make a coherent superhero cinematic universe, and an actually great filmmaker. Like, what's so cool about this is that he's not exactly like Kevin Feige, who has to handle both creative and business stuff for the MCU. James Gunn's CEO title really just gives him more authority and creative liberty over the universe. His partner Peter Safran is the one who handles all the business stuff for the studio, so James Gunn just gets to be a full-on creative, which I think is a genius move. At the time of writing this video, he's already completed an assembly cut of the film, meaning this movie is very efficiently moving along, which tells me that the production is smooth, everyone is happy with the script, and the VFX artists actually have time to cook. A big downfall of the recent MCU movies is that the production is so messy. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was a huge mess where the script was changing every single day, actors didn't even know who they were acting against, and that mess shows on screen.
There's a point in making the movie where I just stopped reading drafts. I was like, this is just gonna change again. Can you just keep
point me towards the camera?
Keep me
What do you need me to
posted
do?
with the information I need, and you guys fill in the blanks that you need.
James Gunn has said in the past that he will not start a project until the script is fully refined and that everyone is happy with it before he even starts filming. And I'm assuming he's going to apply that to other creatives in the field working under him as well. Marvel has a somewhat opposite mentality because they heavily rely on reshoots to fix the story and other issues that come along, which has worked a lot in the past, but the rushed productions and lack of a coherent vision are really starting to show lately. James Gunn has actually said that his Superman film may not even need reshoots, which is just such an insane thing to say nowadays for movies like this. Like, he just must be so confident in this, and I believe him. He knows how to run smooth productions as a filmmaker, and it's exciting for him to run the studio because he can also sympathize with the struggles with other creative talent better too. For example, I think it's cool that James Gunn simply let Matt Reeves continue to do his Batman universe with Robert Pattinson. Any other executive may have just cancelled Reeves' plans or forced him to merge his Batman with a new universe. It seems he really respects the people he works with and will allow for more creative visions. For instance, we're getting a true detective-style Green Lantern TV show on HBO, an animated movie about the origins of Dick Grayson and Jason Todd mixed with some puppetry. Like, what? Those sound so different and unique. Next, I want to talk about why I'm specifically excited about the Superman film itself. Do you know what we've been missing in Superman media? Humanity. That's like the #1 thing you have to get right with Superman, and that is why I don't particularly care for Zack Snyder's Greek god-like interpretation of the character. He's supposed to be like a bright, grown-up Boy Scout who believes the best in people and has such a hopelessly optimistic viewpoint of the world. Well, to me at least. I miss feeling like I can relate to this guy. Sure, he has an extremely insane power set, but at the end of the day, his appeal for me is his relatability to want to be good for his community and be a symbol of hope for others. I personally want a Superman who will take the time to rescue a cat out of a tree and have a conversation with a random guy on a sidewalk to simply ask him about his day, rather than a dark, brooding demigod who has to kill his opponents. And to my delight, it seems that James Gunn is taking the route of something more pure, humane, and grounded. Just looking at the suit, I can tell exactly what the tone is going to be like, and I couldn't be more excited. I mean, Trunks. We got Trunks, y'all. I know not everyone will vibe with that, but this makes me so excited. Just the way James Gunn talks about his interpretation to make this movie makes me a little emotional. He talks about how he initially rejected the idea of making a Superman movie because he felt like he didn't have a way in to make it. But then, his father passed away, his best friend. It was then that he finally found an emotional connection to write a Superman film because he related with Superman's parents, both his Kansas farmer parents and his Kryptonian ones, and how they inform who Clark is as a person and the choices he makes. Knowing that was the emotional way in for Gunn just makes me really happy because this film is not some corporate start to a universe, but rather a film taken from someone else's personal life struggles and soul. Gunn shared a few photos of comic panels and other Superman media to show what will largely influence his take. And this first one here is a picture of All-Star Superman saving a suicidal girl. Again, this shows that Superman will value these seemingly smaller lives and level with humanity. We got Jeff Loeb's for All Season Superman, DCAU Superman, Kingdom Come Superman. Like, it's just so cool knowing that the director values all these different interpretations and truly respects the thing that he's working on. We know very little of the plot right now, but the description right now reads, Superman embarks on a journey to reconcile his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing as Clark Kent. Not a lot to go off of there. We know that this will not be an origin story, that he'll be fresh working at the Daily Planet as a news reporter, that the love interest will of course be Lois Lane, and that the main villain will be Lex Luthor played by Nicholas Hoult. Also, the casting so far has been absolute peak. I think that my only concern for this movie is that there are going to be a lot of other superheroes in here like Guy Gardner's Green Lantern, Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, Metamorpho, and who knows who else. I am worried that having all these people will make the film less personal and grounded. I don't want the film to feel cluttered and that Superman isn't special. One of the many things that makes Sam Raimi's Spider-Man feel so unique is that he's the only superhero in that world. Or at least in the movies that were shown. But when everyone starts becoming a superhero, you kinda just don't care all that much. For instance, the TV show Arrow started off with just one superhero, and by the end of it, the entire cast is a superhero. Or with Daredevil, it's like, yeah, other heroes technically exist in the world, but in terms of the main cast, Daredevil is the only one with superhuman abilities, and it makes him feel unique and special. But if James Gunn's main cast has all these other guys in there, I am a little worried about if this will take away from Clark's journey. However, James Gunn did directly answer this concern with saying that those characters are in this movie because they better help tell Clark's journey, and they're not there to simply set up spin-offs, which makes me happy to hear. But it is something where I'll have to see it to believe it. I do see some story potential though. Gunn describes Superman as kindness in a world that thinks kindness is old-fashioned, which first off, I just love that wording. It's exactly what I want out of Superman. But perhaps these heroes exist because they go about what they do in a harsh way, maybe in a way like The Boys but less violent and extreme. I'm assuming here it's that Superman simply has a naively optimistic philosophy about handling things, which contrasts against the other existing heroes, but whatever, I'm just theorizing at this point. Nonetheless, I'm still really optimistic about his interpretation. So yeah, we're seemingly out to a great start with everything falling into place. But if it fails, I think this DCU will die and Warner Brothers might have to take a break from DC for a while. This is truly their last hope, with miss after miss after miss from DC and a horrid reputation from Batman v Superman all the way to Aquaman / The Flash. It's never been in a worse state, to be honest. Superhero fatigue has set in because of all the mediocre films and interest in these types of movies. Superhero fatigue has set in because of all the mediocre films, and interest in these types of movies is at an all-time low. This movie has to be nothing less than great, and I truly mean that. People don't care about superhero movies all that much these days, and they surely could care less about Superman, as weird as that sounds. If this cinematic universe has any chance to survive, the quality has to at least meet those great expectations. And for the box office, I think it at least needs to break even or make a fair amount of money. I think if the box office at least does decent and the quality is amazing, I think word of mouth will do wonders and people will watch it at home a bunch of times, and any future sequels will do much better. Much like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. But yeah, I truly mean it. We're in a really grim state of superhero films. And things like Joker, Fully Ado bombing financially and critically do not help one bit. There has never been more at stake here than there has with this movie. It'll either be the start of something amazing or the end of an era. We'll see. But those are all my thoughts on this. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm being overdramatic, or do you agree with me? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to know them in the comments below, and with all that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace.